Ulikuwa unatoa katika mifuko ya tai.
Wewe ni aso wa hiyo kanisa.
Aje hapana, mimi ni Islam.
Very good. Walk out. Usiniletee Kiislamu hapa.
Arda?
Yes.
This is a conversation about changing systems, rebuilding dignity, and of course, proving that there definitely is life beyond the bars.
Shock on me. This officer says to me, I'm actually here to arrest you. From that point on, the wrongful prosecution begins. I am a convicted felon in this country. The friends I had, all the contacts, everyone has disappeared. So reality checks in. And it's a very harsh reality. Poverty does not equate criminality.
Yeah.
So let us change that in this country and see to it that the opposite of justice is not inequality.
My name is Nganga.
This is the Nganga. Tulipatana kitambo. She was my... Probably when I first saw her, she kind of stood out. He relocated back. And I didn't have any contact of rehab. I got her number through my mom.
Alikuwa ananipea hints that I'm interested, but hakuwa anisema. He was just a very good friend. This notion about dating your best friend.
I was always hesitant because ujui kaa utaambiwa ngoja, no. And that is when I was behind her with my proposal ring.
I felt so special.
The first tear I shed on that day.
Being my future husband here, and he was emotional. He cried.
Umeona mrembo.
She was beautiful.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Kila Jumamosi saa 1 jioni kuna sauti mbili zinazotawala anga ya habari. Dada wawili pacha, magwiji wa ulingo wa habari.
Karibu sana katika Dira ya Magwiji.
Magwiji kwa upekee wa sauti, mtindo na maarifa.
Katika enzi ya sasa iliyosheheni mabadiliko, tuko ange kukuletea taarifa, fafanuzi kutoka kila pembe ya dunia.
Jamila na Wanjiru wanakupeleka kwenye safari ya taarifa, uchambuzi na uhodari wa matukio yanayotikisa dunia.
Tunajizatiti kukupa taarifa sahihi na kwa wakati.
Habari kwa jicho la kitaalam.
Tuna hamu na hamamu katika kuuliza maswali stahiki yenye kuwajibisha.
Na sauti ya uhalisia.
Tupe sikio na macho kwa taarifa za kina.
Dira ya Magwiji, pacha wa habari. Kila Jumamosi saa 1 jioni hapa KBC Channel 1.
To have you join us. Good evening and welcome to the Prime Edition. Tonight we turn our focus to innovation with impact. We'll be speaking with James McGreevy. He's a tech leader and a philanthropist whose work spans the UK's financial technology sector and youth development. His mission is about access and opportunity, from digital transformation to empowering the next generation through sports and education. So stay tuned for that particular interview within this bulletin. But first, let's look at what's coming up.
Money is deducted from an employee. This money is supposed to be remitted somewhere for payment of graduate when they retire. The unfortunate bit is that money is not remitted.
Trans Nzoia County Government is on the spot for withholding over 52 million shillings in gratuity owed to county employees. Nyota program brightens the future of youth entrepreneurs in Kisii, Nyamira and Migori counties. And Kenya and United States agree to deepen cooperation in defense, peace and security. Thank you for joining us. Helping me on the sign language is Lucy Maura. I'm Marie Yambo. Let's begin the bulletin where the county government of Trans Nzoia is on the spot for withholding over 52 million shillings in gratuity owed to the county employees who served under the previous county government. Appearing before the Senate County Public Accounts Committee, Trans Nzoia County Governor, that is George Natembeya, faulted the previous county administration of non-remittances to the statutory deductions.
I, George Natembeya.
Trans Nzoia County Governor George Natembeya was invited by the Senate County Public Accounts Committee to shed light on various audit queries raised by the Auditor General for the year ended 30th June 2025. Among the concerns was gratuity owed to former county employees, some of whom retired in 2021.
Why should someone dedicate their service, time and life? You people surrounding the governor, one day you'll be out of office. You will want to be paid your gratuity. Will it be justifiable for you to wait for 4 years?
Money is deducted from an employee. This money is supposed to be remitted somewhere for payment of gratuity when they retire. The unfortunate bit is that money is not remitted.
It is the recommendation of this committee that the control of budget does not approve any requisition until those gratuities that are older than 4 years, a payment plan is put in place or they are settled.
Natembeya, however, promised to prioritize the matter during their next supplementary budget in March 2026.
Chair, I recommend that the county must provide us with a payment plan. I am aware the control of budget is here. Provide with us who are these people. We have seen situations where people have 100,000, 200,000, 50,000 Kenya shillings have been owed. It means a lot to them, Chair.
Meanwhile, Bomet County government has been called out for failing to provide crucial financial statements and details of staff establishment to the Office of the Auditor General for audit.
You didn't provide the approved staff establishment. You didn't provide the requests by the various heads of departments. You have not provided the minutes of the meetings that approved this expenditure.
Always we have endeavored to provide this documentation because the impression created, I agree with observations of the Senate, that the impression created is like where these documents I provided manufactured just to cover the queries that have been. That is the impression created.
Bomet County Governor Hilary Barchok struggled to explain to the Senate County Public Investments Committee why 10 million shillings was spent on irregular payment of casual employees.
We're talking here about 10 million Kenya shillings. Some would say 10 million is small money, or even 5 million is small money, or even 2.5 million is small money. But it is not for purposes of accountability to the public.
Give me time, let me go and resolve this.
The senators also faulted the Bomet County Executive over failure to provide crucial financial statements to the Auditor General in time.
So I don't want to defend myself. There is an issue here that needs to be resolved so that next year when we'll be appearing, we don't have the same problem.
Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
8,820 youth drawn from the counties of Kisii, Nyamira and Migori counties have benefited from business grants from the Nyota program, a project that aims to improve youth employability and expand employment opportunities. Each entrepreneur received 22,000 shillings, amounting to 220.5 million shillings after the successful completion of a mandatory 4-day business skills training program.
At the Gusii Stadium in Kisii County, Thousands of youth converged for the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement Nyota program. The youth benefited from business grants worth 22,000 shillings each after the completion of a mandatory 4-day training. President William Ruto reiterated the government's commitment to address youth unemployment, which has long grappled the country.
And I must work for you. This administration must work for you, because that is how we are going to move Kenya to the next level. That is how we are going to change this country. That is how we are going to move this nation from a third world nation to a first world nation in our lifetime.
Sasa umepata hiyo 25,000 because you get 22 today through Pochi, 3,000 will go to your savings.
The head of state further observed that the Nyota project is set to benefit over 820,000 young people across the country.
Hii program ya Nyota itafikia vijana 820 Kenya. Wale wa business support kama wale tunawashughulikia leo hapa ni vijana 123.
Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki highlighted a range of complementary government initiatives aimed at holistic youth empowerment.
For the first time, this administration is focusing on young people to empower them and to give them opportunities to also contribute to our national development.
Other leaders present lauded the initiative challenging the youth to make prudent use of the funds.
Katika maisha ya kawaida ya taifa la Kenya, vijana kama hao wanasahaulika, wanateseka na maisha yao inakuwa mbaya.
The government has further announced the opening of the Star 254# platform for registration of the on-the-job experience training, a component of the Nyota project, which will support 90,000 youth in acquiring practical skills through mentorship by master trainers. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Kenya and the United States have agreed to deepen cooperation in defense, peace, and security. The move aims at strengthening regional stability and support economic growth. The agreement was announced during a visit by U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, that is Christopher Landau, in Nairobi, where he held talks with senior government officials, including Prime Cabinet Secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi. While receiving the visiting U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau in his office, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi reaffirmed the strong Kenya-U.S. strategic partnership in defense, peace, and regional security.
Even on the regional aspects that we deal with here in terms of security, it has to be a collaborative effort with the United Nations, United States, and other critical international community, so that we can collectively make sure that we can bring peace and stability in the region.
Mudavadi appreciated the U.S. recognition of Kenya's leadership and contribution to international peace, such as the multinational security support mission in Haiti.
Working together with the United States government was absolutely essential in terms of the logistics and other support that was necessary, and also to galvanize international support for funding of the MSS mission.
Kenya has been an absolutely indispensable partner in that, both in that mission and in helping plan the new gang suppression force that will be starting up there on April 1st.
Beyond security, both leaders highlighted progress in trade, investment, counterterrorism, health, education, and development, describing the cooperation as a driver of shared prosperity and regional stability.
Kenya welcomes the progress made in renewing the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, for another 3 years. This renewal is an important milestone for Kenya-US trade, and we look forward to continued mutually beneficial trade between our two countries.
where this kind of cooperation makes sense when it's a win-win situation. Kenya can bring in valuable foreign investment and foreign companies here to further develop Kenya, and American companies, I think, can provide many useful benefits, both in terms of capital and other kinds of skills.
Highlights of the visit included the groundbreaking ceremony for the expansion of the Manda Bay runway to strengthen counterterrorism cooperation. Earlier in the day, Landau met President William Ruto at State House Nairobi to review progress and discuss ways to deepen future cooperation. Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has directed human resource managers across ministries to crack the whip on late-coming public servants. Ruku, who spoke after an impromptu visit to the Kisumu regional headquarters, said that an elaborate system is in the pipeline to end what he described as intolerable behavior in the public service. Wycliffe Okech reports.
At exactly 8 a.m. on Thursday, public servants working at the Kisumu regional headquarters received an unexpected guest, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Geoffrey Ruku. Ruku expressing disappointment at the casual attitude with which services are being delivered to members of the public across the regional offices, including the Huduma centers.
Those who are in the offices by 8 were very few. Below 20%. Hiyo tapia lazima ikome. Na itafika wakati ambao by mwezi ya 4 namna hii ambapo wengi wetu watanaswa na ile mitambo na ile program ambazo tunaweka ya kuhakikisha kwamba lazima tufanye kazi yetu tukiwajibika kwa Wakenya. Na wezi anjibika kwa Wakenya kama aufiki mahali unafanya kazi kwa masaa ambayo inayopaswa.
The CS regretted the persistent complaints of poor service delivery in public offices.
We must remind ourselves each and every day that Kenyans have paid for their services through their taxes. So they have already paid for the services which we are offering them. So the people of Kenya are demanding that we be in our offices at the right time.
CS Ruku directing human resource managers across ministries to crack the whip on those derailing service delivery.
Please, the human resource managers across the Republic of Kenya in all ministries, you are directly under the Ministry of Public Service. I would want to have monthly report on the responses as far as telephone calls, inquiries from the public inquiring different issues, so that we can run an efficient public service.
He reaffirmed the commitment of President William Ruto's administration to streamline public service for efficient service delivery to Kenyans at both national and regional offices. Reporting for Channel 1 from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Now, the United States has honored the Kenya-led multinational security support mission for taking the difficult assignment of fighting deadly gangs in Haiti in a bid to restore peace in the Caribbean nation. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau, who visited the officers at the National Police College in Embakasi, Nairobi, says Kenya is a key player in maintaining global security.
The multinational security support mission officers deployed to Haiti, who are back home, had a moment with a rare guest on Thursday at the National Police College Embakasi, Nairobi. Christopher Landau, the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State, recognized their efforts towards restoring peace in the country that was largely controlled by gangs.
On behalf of President Trump, Secretary Rubio, and the people of the United States of America, to recognize your heroic efforts that are giving the people of Haiti a chance. I think there is no way that the very fragile government in Haiti could have withstood the onslaught of these gangs, but for your presence there.
So if there's something we insist as Kenya and we share as experience is that it is important. It's important to deploy the 5,500 officers, but it's also extremely important to make sure that there is appropriate equipment and resources to support them.
Landau said as a major non-NATO ally, Kenya is an important contributor to global security.
The international community had a call to countries for forces to restore law and order in Haiti. Only one country really stepped up to the plate, and that was Kenya.
The U.S. top official also led the gathering in observing a moment of silence for gallant officers who lost their lives in the line of duty. Murkomen said the U.S. is a key ally of Kenya, especially in maintaining regional peace and stability.
We look forward to working closely with the United States and other partners to advance peace, strengthen our security partnership, and deepen commercial and people-to-people ties between our two nations.
Currently, there are 230 Kenyan officers in Haiti.
The United States government has recognized Kenya in its efforts towards restoring peace and suppressing gangs in Haiti, saying, were it not for Kenya, Haiti people would not be having a government to run. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Thank you, Giverson Minor, for that report. And on that note, we take our first break of the bulletin. Prime Edition continues shortly.
Conversation about changing systems, rebuilding dignity, and of course proving that there definitely is life beyond the bars.
Shock on me. This officer says to me, I'm actually here to arrest you. From that point on, the wrongful prosecution begins. I am a convicted felon in this country. The friends I had, all the contacts, everyone has disappeared. So reality checks in. And it's a very harsh reality. Poverty does not equate criminality. So let us change that in this country and see to it that the opposite of justice is not inequality.
Zameni usiuchawi. Ino kazi ni ya Mola.
Ni kipi kikusikitishacho kipenzi changu kiki?
Akili mnemba ina mchango gani katika jamii?
Hoja yangu ya kwanza ni mabadiliko ya haraka katika teknolojia yanafanya watu kushindwa kuendeleza akili mnemba.
Akili mnemba inaunda fursa mpya za kazi.
Tutajie kisawe cha neno hili.
Gwena.
Uitwa Ngwena. Makofi mpigie. Mama amepona. Kinyume.
Mama ameugua.
Tamthilia ya Bembea Maisha ni tamthilia tatizo. Eleza.
Inaeleza jinsi Yona na Sara wanapitia tabu na mwisho akafanikiwa.
This is Nganga. Tulipatana kitambo. She was my classmate. Probably when I first saw her, she kind of stood out. He relocated back. And I didn't have any contact of rehab. I got her number through my mom.
Alikuwa ananipea hints that I'm interested, but hakuwa nisema. He was just a very good friend. This notion about dating your best friend.
I was always hesitant because ujui kama utaambiwa goja, no. And that is when I was behind her with my proposal ring.
I felt so special.
The first tear I shed on that day.
Being my future husband there. And he was emotional, he cried.
Umeona mrembo.
She was beautiful.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's look at matters health now, where Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale has emphasized the government's commitment to enhancing access to cancer treatment by increasing its package under the Social Health Insurance Fund from 500,000 shillings to 800 1,000 shillings. Speaking at Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital in Mombasa County while inspecting a newly constructed cancer center, Duale said the government will pay for service level agreements to ensure cancer treatment machines are serviced. Mombasa County Governor Abdul Samad Nasser offered land for construction of a specialized cancer ward at the facility.
You are aware the Social Health Authority has enhanced the oncology benefit package now from the 550 to 800,000 per patient or per household. This is a very historic move, and this is to protect our families from the catastrophic spending that has historically driven many of them into poverty following when they are diagnosed with cancer. Close to 29,000 Kenyans die every year, and close to 44,000 Kenyans are diagnosed every year. So it's a top priority for both the county government and for the national government health sector reform. So we have coordinated that and agreed that we are going to pay for the service level agreement so that the companies that brought these machines will service these machines 24/7 so that there is no patient who will wait in the queue because the machine is down.
Tuko na ardhi hapa katika eneo letu la Coast General. Tunataka tujenge ward maalum ambao kwamba itakuwa ni ward ya saratani, na tutairegister hii center hii iwe na registration yake kando na ile ambao kwamba ni registration ya hospitali kuu.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has dismissed allegations of abetting corruption in northern frontier counties. Commission CEO Abdi Mohamud said that the commission had, to the contrary, recommended the prosecution of senior county officials, including a sitting governor. He spoke when receiving a petition from the youth of Kenya Integrity Champions, who completed a 350-kilometer walk from Eldoret to Nairobi to decry the effects of corruption.
The anti-graft body has lately come under accusations of being an accomplice to corruption in the northern frontier counties. While cautioning against politicizing the war on graft in the region, EACC CEO Abdi Mahmoud stated that the commission had instead submitted files to the ODPP recommending prosecution of senior officials in those counties.
There are files that are with the DPP where we have recommended charges against senior personalities, including a sitting governor, together with other, senior persons within those counties. In the 5 counties that, form the northern counties, investigations are going on all of them.
He also defended the commission against allegations that it had approved payments of NYS suppliers to the tune of 6.2 billion shillings, only later to declare them fictitious.
We are convinced 100% that those services and the goods were not delivered or rendered. We requested the court to give orders so that no payments are made, because the public was going to lose over 6 billion Kenya shillings for services not rendered, for goods not supplied. And we have documentary evidence to that effect.
The 8 young men under the Youth of Kenya Integrity Champions umbrella were congratulated for their daring initiative to embark on the more than 300-kilometer walk to raise awareness on rampant corruption that they say has denied many youth advancement opportunities.
If each one of us does their role in preventing and refusing to participate in corruption, our country will go far.
If you look at nations that have allowed corruption to take root in their countries, the ultimate end is that they collapse.
We will support you in whichever way we can. We will use you where we are, where we think we can partner with, and feel, assured that the items and the issues you raised in the petition will be addressed item by item.
The youth urged for concerted efforts if the war on graft is to be won.
The youth of Kenya refuse to inherit a nation destroyed by corruption and submit this petition in good faith, demanding action, accountability, and reform.
Having trekked 350 kilometers, the youthful team are hopeful that the anti-graft body will act decisively and bring the war on corruption to an absolute end. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition at the Integrity Center in Nairobi.
Thank you, Yusufara. 5 people have been arrested and 6 alcohol outlets closed in a crackdown by the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse in Mombasa. Speaking at Kongowea area in Nyali Sub-County, NACADA Chief Executive Officer Dr. Anthony Omerikwa lauded the multi-agency approach in tackling the vice and urged members of the public to remain vigilant and report illegal alcohol and drug activities in their neighborhoods.
Leo tumefanikiwa kuwashika washukiwa 4 ambao walikuwa nauza sigara na madawa za prescription kwa wananchi. In addition to that, tumeshika mfanyabiashara mmoja ambaye alikuwa nauza pombe gushi. Hapa nyuma ndio nyumba yake iko, na mkiona anapakana na shule. Unajua sheria inasema mtu hafai kufanya vitu kama hizi karibu na shule. Tutamchukulia hatua, na ningependa kuwasihi wananchi, mkiona jambo kama hili linafanyika katika maeneo yenu, tafadhali mtujulishe. Sisi kama NACADA tunaweza wafahamisha asasi za usalama kuhusu hicho kitendo, na ningewaomba pia mtuandame katika mitandao za kijamii ambapo tunahamasisha wananchi kuhusu athari za utumizi mbaya wa pombe na mihadarati. Tuko na nambari ya simu ambayo unaweza piga, na it is toll free, hakuna charge yoyote.
And barrister students at the Kenya Utalii College have benefited from the donation of state-of-the-art barrister machines by Ushirika Wema Foundation, a move expected to enhance practical training and improve their chances of securing employment in their hospitality industry. Speaking at the handover ceremony, Ushirika Wema Foundation chairperson Tesi Musalia said the initiative seeks to bridge the gap between classroom learning and industry needs by equipping young people with practical market-ready skills. Students will benefit from training across the entire coffee value chain, from coffee bean handling and brewing techniques to customer service.
The mission of Kenya Utalii College to develop highly skilled and globally competitive professionals for the hospitality and tourism industry is a source of pride that we must carry as a nation. It is our hope that these barrister machines will boost your capacity to enroll and train even more young people.
The objectives of these projects are both practical and visionary. If I sum them up, to train professional baristas for Kenya's coffee and tourism sector, to improve service quality in the hospitality industry, to create added value along the coffee production and consumption chain, to increase employability, particularly for the young people and women, and strengthen technical cooperation between Turkey and Kenya by sharing Turkey's experience in vocational education and coffee technologies.
A look at business now. Any counter offer to Vodacom's proposal to acquire a 15% stake in Safaricom from the government would be considered. National Treasury Principal Secretary Dr. Chris Kipto says even though Vodacom offered to buy the Safaricom stake at a premium of 34 shillings per share, the best proposal from any other investor would be considered.
Members of Parliament want the infrastructure bond to be anchored in law before the government offloads a 15% stake in Safaricom. The MPs argue that this will ensure the funds from Safaricom share sale will not be put into the consolidated fund and used to fund other government expenditure.
Is the money going to go to the consolidated bank, then to the consolidated fund? Then you are able to trace and audit that the money came in and went to the project, and we are able to see. And is Parliament going to really oversight this infrastructure fund?
Why is it that the Cabinet Secretary and the PS, or rather executive, has not brought a bill concerning the infrastructure fund so that we are assured that the money is ring-fenced?
National Treasury Principal Secretary Dr. Chris Kipto maintains that Vodacom's proposal of 34 shillings per share presented the best option as sale to other shareholders, including floating it to the public, would see the stake offloaded at a discount of below 24 shillings.
Even though it is a block sale to an existing shareholder, suppose the 15% shares were offered to other telco operators or to other institutional investors. Which one would have given us a more competitive edge as a government?
If we offered to the public, most likely we would be selling at a discount, not at a premium. And that is what we worked out. If we want to market and give to the rest of the 25%, we would be selling at a discount. So a discount means we would be even lower than 24.5.
The legislators further questioned why there was no independent market survey for pricing mechanism.
This sale is being done at premium of 23.7%. And I know the prices may have changed from that time, so that what you see in the market may be lower, but you will see that it is above 17%, selling at a premium. So here we are getting value for money.
He said the National Treasury has already received 9 billion shillings from Safaricom as last year's dividends and will get this year's dividends before the sale is complete.
We're receiving 40.2 billion shillings in terms of future dividends, so the total value of this particular transaction will be 244 billion 500 million shillings.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
A new mobile innovation hub is rolling into public primary schools as part of a push to expand access to digital and artificial intelligence skills. The DGAI Bus, an initiative led by DGAI Bus Kenya CEO James McGreevy, is designed to take hands-on ICT training, digital literacy and online learning resources directly to learners with limited or no access to technology. Trevor Ngendo has the details.
Behind me is a classroom on wheels designed to take digital skills where they are needed the most. While technology and artificial intelligence continue to shape learning and future jobs, thousands of public primary school pupils are still being left behind due to limited access to devices and connectivity. The DGAI Bus aims to change that by bringing hands-on ICT and AI learning directly to schools. Fitted with laptops, internet connectivity and interactive learning tools, learners will receive practical training in basic ICT skills, digital literacy and introductory AI concepts, alongside access to online educational content.
We partner with Code Yetu to give the digital literacy training, coding, and then we also have an education section as well, where we have personalised AI bespoke curriculums per child. So at any one point, you could have 40 children on the bus, all learning biology, but all having different micro lessons depending on their strengths and weaknesses.
The project aims to fast-track digital readiness among learners in underserved communities and better prepare them for participation in the global digital economy.
We've structured the program to meet the curriculum, the current curriculum of CBC, integrating coding into their day-to-day studies, so that we make sure that as the kids learn, they're able to. Coding drives problem-solving skills, creativity and innovation.
I'm very happy because when these skills, I'm not going to learn them alone. I will go and tell my friends in the school about the skills and learn more about it.
They believe the mobile model will allow the program to scale up without the challenges of costly infrastructure investments.
We could have built a classroom inside a slum, but we felt that we limit other kids from other slums. So that's how this idea also came up, because we want to reach every corner of Nairobi.
The bus has, you'll notice on top there's some panels. Those are solar panels. Those solar panels then power tens of batteries in the compartments of where luggage used to be in this bus. And if that fails, we have a silent generator on the other side of the bus. So this bus is self-sufficient. It can run 2 weeks on this energy. So that really allows us to bypass the constraints of power issues in certain areas where we want to take the bus.
The project builds on the work of the King's Rugby Development Academy, a youth empowerment and educational program that has used sport to open leadership and academic pathways for the youth. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
One day, while teaching an oral healthcare class, I saw a little boy who kept covering his mouth. It turns out he had lost some of his teeth and felt embarrassed. But as a hygienist, a child's smile means everything to me. That's why Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection unlocks 24-hour cavity defense, a formula boosted with calcium for lifelong smiles. Every child has the right to smile, and a beautiful smile is a healthy smile.
Colgate, #1 oral care brand in the world.
Nasema wewe ni manzi. Manzi ya pasta ama manzi ya nani hapo?
Shemanzi, Asha, kanisani.
Wewe ni muamini wa hiyo kanisa?
Hapana.
Very nice. Hiyo ni ya kwanza, maka watu walimheshimiwa.
Nimekwambia uulize maswali.
Nikieleza hii mahakama, mimi hiyo pesa nilikuja nikachukua, nikatoa, nikawa kiondo ilikuwa imejaa. Nikatoa nikaweka kwa mfuko ndio sisimwakike. Nitakuwa naeleza mahakama ulangu.
Sheria ya kanisa pale pakijaa anaruhusiwa kuchukua pesa yote.
Sasa ningewacha simwakike mheshimiwa kusema
ulikuwa unatoa katika mifuko ya tai.
Wewe ni aso wa hiyo kanisa.
Aje hapana, mimi ni Islam.
Very good. Walk out. Usiniletee Kiislamu hapa.
Arda?
Yes.
Wiki hii kwenye Mkulima tunaangazia ufugaji wa nzi wa BSF.
Tunajifunza mbinu nafuu ya uzalishaji wa chakula cha mfugo.
Hii ndio tunaita black soldier fly larvae.
Aha.
Huyu ndio mdudu ambaye ndio chakula ya kuku. Na naweza kueleza sio chakula tu wa kuku wa mifugo ama kitu kingine. Pia wanadamu pia.
Wow.
Ni chakula yetu. Hivi karibuni tutakuwa tunaitisha chapati BSF. Ama ugali BSF.
Wow, sio.
BSF bado inakuja kutackle climate change.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1.
Kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
Welcome back. Now, James McGreevey, co-founder of the King's Rugby Development Academy, joins us now to discuss the DGAI Bus, an initiative delivering digital and AI skills directly to public schools, primary schools and all that. But he's here to give us, the details of what DGAI Bus is all about. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's just begin by you telling us, what is the DGAI Bus?
So the DGAI Bus is a ICT and AI lab on wheels. It's a mobile innovation hub, and it was really founded to take the classroom to the students.
So it's an AI bus that takes literacy, AI literacy, or can I say computer literacy to the students. Why is that important?
So this is a really big milestone for young people in Kenya today, because digital literacy is a necessity for many entry-level jobs and roles. There's lots of studies that have been done that having digital literacy can actually increase your earnings by 37%, and it can employ youth unemployment in Kenya by 10%. So these are very, concrete facts as to why we thought digital literacy is so essential. And that's just one aspect of the Digi AI bus, because obviously, that's half the name, Digi. The other aspect is AI. And what we've built is a very smart program where we can upload a curriculum, and we can have 38 students on the bus at any given moment with 2 technical experts who
are supplied by our wonderful partners at Code And this AI program, it learns the students as they learn the curriculum. So, for example, if you're amazing at biology and I'm not so good at biology, we can be sat on the bus, 38 of us, having a biology lesson, but there's 38 different micro lessons going on. So what you see in front of you will be different to what I see. So it'll know your strengths and it'll know my strengths, and it will allow us to work on our weaknesses while having, while all being in a classroom environment together with the teachers.
Okay, so this is about learning the subjects, like you've just mentioned, biology and all that. But what other skills do the students get in this AI bus?
Sure. So the digital skills, that is given by our partners Code So they're something that we found very interesting while we launched this pilot was some children, even in grade 9, our partners found that when they were coming to use laptops, this was their first time using a laptop. So a lot of us take for granted, being able to use keyboards, iPhones, phones, but going back to basics, stripping it back to basics on, how to use technology, how to use laptops, how to, use Word documents, PowerPoints, and then how to make it fun for, technology shouldn't be something that people are scared of. It's here, and it should be something that people should be excited to use. So we then look to, gamify coding and, start at very basic levels, very, fundamentals. We use a platform called Scratch, which I'm sure many people are familiar with. And it was just a way to demystify what people used to see as, it's that thing, it's that buzzword, but it's here and it should be accessible to everyone. So we're trying to democratize access to digital skills.
Okay. How are you seeing the DG AI bus, bridging that gap? Because Kenya already rolled out, ICT technology, in schools. But yes, there are challenges there. But how is the DG AI bus, trying to bridge that gap?
So we are completely aligned with Kenya's Digi AI strategy for 2025 to 2030, and that's part of the reason why we've, come on board. And at the launch today, we had Nairobi County, Yambo, who, we've got very strong partnerships with now. And what we see is we're not constrained to infrastructure because we're mobile. So what this means is the liabilities or, potential challenges that you can have with a static classroom are, making sure that you have technicians there to make sure that it's all working. Making sure that, if a laptop breaks, you'll have to go to another place to get a new laptop. What the Digi AI bus has is all of this in one place, going to areas that may not have access right now to computers. And what we've sought to do as well is not only give access to schools that currently don't have these hubs, because you're quite right, there are a lot of hubs being rolled out and we're fully supportive of that, and it's something that we are very engaged in. But what we do is we also live stream our lessons.
Okay.
So it's not just the 38 on the bus having a lesson.
Okay.
The vision that we have is those 38 will be sat on the bus having the lesson with the laptops, but those 38 are, for our pilot, students who don't have an ICT hub. And then we live stream that to schools that do have these, these ICT labs and hubs. So that is where we bridge the gap.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, but why is it important, to introduce these children at this early age to digital literacy and even AI? And maybe I don't know whether they are children who have already graduated from this DG AI bus, but what's the end game with it?
Right, great question. So why do we teach digital skills at a young age? And there's actually a couple of aspects to this. So first of all, taking a step back, before you're even taught how to use laptops and how to go onto the internet and use digital tools, what we think is really crucial is learning how to be safe online and learning, how to use the technology correctly. And because there's a lot of bias out there, AI can now generate hyper-realistic pictures and stories. So we incorporate that into before we even allow, the children to get active on the laptops. The other aspect as to why it's so important to start young is it's like any skill. It takes time to develop. We're not, putting ChatGPT in front of 6-year-olds. That's definitely not what we're doing.
Yeah.
What we're doing is just introducing concepts that haven't been introduced at that age before, because we recognise, like with riding a bike, you get better every time you ride a bike. Like with swimming, you get better every time you start swimming. And that's the same with technology.
Okay. So we'll be talking about King's Rugby Development Academy, sports and digital literacy. But also at the same time, we are in the AI, can I say it's the next frontier?
It's the current frontier.
Yes, it's the current frontier.
Yeah.
So there's no running away from it, because sometimes people have felt like AI is coming to disrupt everything, like the traditional way of doing things. There are jobs which are going to be, lost and all that. I don't know what you have to say about that.
So people's jobs will never be replaced by AI. You always need a driver behind a car. It's all about, how can you enhance this driver to be the best of their ability? And we see AI as an incredibly useful educational tool, as well as an employability tool as well. So yes, AI is here, and it's not something to be scared of. It's something that can help in everyday tasks. We use, for example, part of the curriculum we do is project-based learning. So it's how do you use this technology in order to generate, better outcomes that previously may not have been there, and how to create localized context. So AI, it's not, asking ChatGPT, give me a summary of X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
It can now be localized and contextualized. For example, we have children who can now do projects within their community on, assessing water levels in tanks using algorithms with AI to see when the distribution levels.
Okay, so let's get into sports now. How, sports and technology, and especially for you, how you actually merge those two. But talk to us about the King's Rugby Development Academy first.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this May, King's Rugby turns 10 years old, and that makes me feel really old. I started my rugby career at Homeboys in Kenya, and then moved to Kenya Harlequins, which is where we actually host the KRDA Sunday training sessions. KRDA's mission is to not generate the best rugby players, and that might sound really controversial being a rugby development academy, but it's actually to give a foot in the door to better schools. So we use football as we use rugby. Sorry,
yes.
We might use football in the future. We use rugby to get our young boys and girls scholarships into better schools. Okay. And I have a really amazing story that I'd like to share as well. We currently have, as of 2 weeks ago, 3 boys joining Alliance. And these are boys, 2 of them that we've been with since they were 2 years old. For the last 12 years, we've invested into education, feeding, sports, and now it's just amazing to see, the fruits coming through of, this investment into some brilliant minds. But we're very much aware, in order to get into these very prestigious schools, rugby alone won't put you there. And that's something that we've really honed in and pivoted in our offering to our students.
Okay.
So rugby gets you there, but grades keep you there, and grades allow you to enter. So what we opened up was a homework hub, and this homework hub, we currently have around 142 young people every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sunday, we take off, we let the choosers have a day of rest, where we offer tuition in order to get our young players the right grades to get to the schools. And I'm also really happy to say that, we have over 33 of our boys and girls on scholarships or partial scholarships to some of the top schools in Nairobi. And we were very fortunate to have some of them join us at the launch earlier today, like Nairobi School and All Saints.
Okay, so there's also Atlas Foundation UK. So how do you work to merge the issues of technology with the students that you support in the rugby academy?
Yeah, so the Atlas Foundation, they're one of our longest standing partnerships. They're a UK organisation, and their mission is very rugby oriented as well. They were there at the inception of the idea of the Digi AI bus, and we're extremely fortunate that they chose to partner with us in order to build this bus. It's been a long time coming, but it was worth the wait. And we saw this Digi AI bus as the next step in our path.
Okay.
So we started with rugby, then we went to education, and now we've gone to another form of education, which does both of upskilling and also enhancing the education beforehand.
So the King's Rugby Development Academy, I also understand, works in, can I say, underserved communities.
Yes.
Yeah. Could you mention to us some of the places where, you engage these children?
All of our children are from Kibera slum. So we're not going out and going to schools and asking, give us your best players, we're going to get them into good schools. We're not doing that. We started as a very small feeding program about 20 years ago, where every Saturday we would have around 400 children come to our feeding program. And that's been going on for the past 20 years, 50 weeks a year. And I don't know the exact figure, I don't have the note on me, but we've, through that, it's been over 1.2 million meals given out in combination with the school dinner program that we run.
Okay. So why do you think it's very important to merge, can I say, sport, in this case rugby, and digital literacy?
So there's a lot of interchangeable skills. So with rugby, it's a prime example of, discipline, teamwork, integrity, respect. And those are skills that you have to carry on further into your development, whether it's education or whether, digital literacy is education. It's just a new form of education that is essential. So that is really where we saw the crossover. And then, as I said earlier, we use rugby as the tool in order to get introductions and routes into different educational institutions.
Okay. So where do you see King's, Academy, Rugby Development Academy, in a few years to come?
I'm really happy you asked this question because we have a very ambitious vision. And, it was great. I voiced it today for the first time at the launch. And we had significant buy-in from, some of the government officials that were there. And it's around, we don't want one bus, because one bus is a drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
Our next goal over the next 5 years is to get 7 buses for the 7 regions in Kenya. But it doesn't stop there, because 7 regions, what's 7 buses going to do in Kenya? This is, again, piloting, getting it to different regions. We want 50 buses. And before you say there's not 50 counties, I know there's not 50 counties. We need 3 buses in reserve because, as with any bus, there's breakdowns and, we need to have that insurance. So we want to have a bus in every county in the next 10 years.
Okay. And at the end, I mean, that's the future of, what you expect to achieve, hopefully.
Yes.
50 buses, like you said. But how many then facilitators do you have, like right now? Because
how many buses?
Like facilitators in the, because there must be some, can I say, the teachers who are teaching the students. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, we have a wonderful partnership with Code Yetu, and they currently have 45. And that's something that we're looking to expand with them as we grow. So yes, excellent question. And we're taking 1 bus at a time. And as we go, it's not just the students that learn. We're actually hosting teachers teaching teachers. So what this means is we have our technical experts teaching our current non-technical experts how to use the tech on board so that we aren't constrained by a lack of teaching resources.
Okay. And so maybe a child, someone is listening, a guardian, a parent, they don't live in Kibra where, you engage these children, but they'd like to be part and parcel of the Digibus.
Of course.
Yeah. So how do they get to do that?
So we do not want to exclude anyone from this. We want to be fully inclusive because, in order for the AI strategy that Kenya has for 2030 to happen and for this to be successful, no one should be left behind. Everyone should be upskilled to the same level. And as I mentioned earlier, we're starting in the schools that don't have the ICT labs. But this is being live streamed to schools that have these ICT labs. And, there's no reason why we should stop at 50 buses either. I don't see why we shouldn't have, 100, 2 per county.
Exactly.
I'm very ambitious and I would love to get there in partnership with many organizations.
Okay. Yeah, wishing you all the best with all that. But it's true what you've said. I mean, the number of buses you can get is unlimited, and it will be important to expose as many children or as many people who would want to learn digital literacy, AI, which, like you've already mentioned, is the current frontier. But let me ask you a question that probably is not necessarily in line with what we've been talking about, but still to touch with sports. Do you think investing in sports is an area that can really deal with, can I say, unemployment in the country?
I think sports can be a superpower. So what I mean by that is investing in sports in itself. A lot of people I know maybe like, oh, you can't make a career from, playing certain sports. But it's not about the end outcome being a professional athlete. It's about instilling the values that sports brings.
Yeah.
And that is the power in it. There's a massive rugby fraternity here. You guys were at the launch today and you witnessed it's something that doesn't go away. We have partners of 10, 20 years, and it's a connection you don't lose. So I would say investing in sports is crucial for also reducing unemployment.
Yeah.
Because of the knock-ons it has, not in terms of the individual values, but then also the community it creates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and how then can I say young people who are in rugby, but any sports for that matter, use digital, or technology for that matter, to really put themselves out there or to actually monetize their talent? Yeah.
Well, I think the amazing thing about the digital economy that we live in now is the barrier to entry has never been lower. So being a sportsman or not being a sportsman doesn't dictate whether you monetize, digital assets and your skills. The only limitation is how much you're willing to invest in yourself, and that could be there's loads of free resources online, but that's again taking a step maybe too far forward, because even myself saying there's lots of free skills online, you then need an online tool in order to do that. So what we're doing is we're giving the training on how best to use these tools on a foundational level, and then hopefully in the future we'll get to more of the higher education levels on it.
Thank you so much, James. We've been speaking to James McGreevy. He's the co-founder of the King's Rugby Development Academy. Thank you so much for coming into the studio and just enlightening us, DG AI Bus, what it does, and the good work you're doing in the community. If you have something, maybe just in 30 seconds, you can say before we let you go.
Thank you so much. Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I suppose my parting message would be, get on board with the Digi AI bus. It's happening, it's moving, the bus is rolling, and the next stop could be anywhere in Nairobi. The only limitation is we need some amazing partners to make this happen. We can't do this alone. We need partners in the private sector, we need tech partners, Microsoft, we need governmental partners in order, today it was amazing to have Konza Technopolis there. They're our newest partner, but sky's the limit.
Yeah. Sky's the limit indeed, and hopefully that you get the partners that you need to keep the good work going. So thank you so much once again for staying tuned to this particular interview. I hope you've learned a lot in terms of the DG AI bus, technology AI, and of course rugby and how those connect together. But we want to continue with the news where a critical shortage of credible geological data is slowing the large-scale investments in mining activities. Kenya Chamber of Mines Chief Executive Officer Brian Simiyu is calling on industry bodies to develop a comprehensive mining paper recommending that reforms that prioritize large-scale geological data generation.
The Kenya Chamber of Mines and the Institution of Engineers of Kenya say the key constraint facing the extractives industry is the absence of investor-grade geological information needed to support long-term, high-risk mining projects.
We have the mineral resources, but we now need to move to what I would call proven stage. The proven stage is the investor-grade information. The general information for the public is, yes, Kenya has minerals. But investors don't go with that information. They want a more structured and systematic view, which is really based on engineering knowledge.
Have about 1% contribution from the mining sector to the GDP. And we know there's a potential that this can be grown to up to 10%. We have seen recent discoveries for mineral deposits. We are talking about gold in Western Kenya. We are talking about rare earths in Mrima Hill. We are talking about coltan around Yambo.
To address this, the Kenya Chamber of Mines, the Institution of Engineers of Kenya and other stakeholders are developing a comprehensive mining white paper, partly modelled on Australia's mining framework, saying that the country is widely regarded as a global benchmark in geological data generation and mining governance.
And the idea is, what will we do in order to grow mining from 1% to 3%. So these initiatives that we've talked about, improving permitting, improving on geological survey and data, improving digitalization, because one of the other big challenges that we have is overlaps in mandates. We need to streamline so that we're working seamlessly and make it easy for investors at various points of the value chain to actually invest.
There is a need to be aware, to market the country for investors to be able to come, but generally also to do responsible mining, because of the fact that when we do this, when we do mining, we interfere with the environment, and restoration and reclamation is necessary so that we actually involved in sustainable mining.
The document is currently undergoing stakeholder consultations and is expected to be finalized by the end of the first quarter of the year. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Kila Jumamosi saa 1 jioni kuna sauti mbili zinazotawala anga ya habari. Dada wawili pacha, magwiji wa ulingo wa habari.
Karibu sana katika dira ya magwiji.
Magwiji kwa upekee wa sauti, mtindo na maarifa.
Katika enzi ya sasa iliyosheheni mabadiliko, tuko ange kukuletea taarifa, fafanuzi kutoka kila pembe ya dunia.
Jamila na Wanjiru wanakupeleka kwenye safari ya taarifa, uchambuzi na uhodari wa matukio yanayotikisa dunia.
Tunajizatiti kukupa taarifa sahihi na kwa wakati.
Habari kwa jicho la kitaalam.
Tuna hamu na hamamu katika kuuliza maswali stahiki yenye kuwajibisha.
Na sauti ya uhalisia.
Tupe sikio na macho kwa taarifa za kina.
Dira ya magwiji, pacha wa habari. Kila Jumamosi saa 1 jioni hapa KBC Channel 1.
Thank you for staying with us. Rehabilitation works have begun at the Southwest Kano Rice Scheme in Kisumu County in a renewed push to unlock the project's potential of putting over 20,000 acres under rice production. This is after years of underutilization that has left only about 3,000 acres under the rice cultivation due to unreliable water supply. Here is Wycliffe Okech with the details.
Kenya produces 300,000 tons of rice annually against a demand of 1 million tons, with the deficit plagued by importation. This is partly blamed on below par production at some rice schemes in the Western and Nyanza regions due to inadequate and unreliable water supply. Here at the Southwest Kano scheme in Kisumu County, only 3,000 acres is under active production against a potential of up to 20,000 acres.
So Southwest Kano has a number of sub-schemes, and we are here today at Dajo sub-scheme to commission the rehabilitation of canals that will be over 20 kilometers. We hope that this work will take around 2 weeks, and then we move to other sub-schemes.
About 3 billion shillings has been mobilized to support rehabilitation works in the rice-producing areas in Nyanza and Western regions.
For the last 3 months, we have spent more than 30 million in this particular scheme, just mopping up the paddy rice. In the last financial year, National Treasury allocated Lake Basin Development Authority 70 million Kenya shillings to mop up paddy rice.
So the entire project for this year, we project to do about 50,000 acres, as MD has mentioned, from Siaya, Kisumu, Lower Kuja, Homa Bay, which is going to cost about 3 billion from the private sector. From the banks, we have NCBA, Loop, we have Equity Bank. You've seen quite a number of them here.
The partnership is geared towards enhancing market for rice farmers, as well as equipping them with the modern farming skills and spraying drones to keep away destructive birds and pests.
This is a very deliberate initiative by the government to ensure that they develop the RAD that is here, so that we can come in with production and marketing initiative as private sector.
Issues of blight to rise, issues of Quilea birds that have become a menace to this community will be a thing of the past.
The farmers were encouraged to form and join cooperatives to benefit from this elaborate support. Reporting for Channel 1 from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
A training program has been rolled out targeting farmers growing the Nyota bean variety to equip them with best practices needed to access the European Union market. Alliance for Biodiversity CIAT Senior Research Associate Justin Machini says the pre-harvest training aims to empower farmers to manage quarantine pests and diseases, as well as comply with other European Union produce standards.
Consumption of beans has been rising in recent years, hitting the current 750,000 metric tons annually, with per capita consumption at 14 kilos.
These varieties are also drought tolerant and fast cooking, so they contribute towards resilience in household, especially among women.
Machine says, due to its fast maturing, richer in nutrients and takes minutes to prepare, the new Nyota bean variety is gaining traction among small-scale farmers and consumers.
Tutumia ile njia ya zamani ya kupanda na kisu. Wakati huu tunatumia jembe, unaweka mashimo, unaweka fertilizer. Kwa hivyo kama watu wakija katika kikundi ya ushirikiano, unaweza pata mawaidha vile tunaweza panda na vile tunaweza pata pesa mfukoni wa mama.
Plans are underway to enhance value addition to beans, allowing farmers to supply processors who can combine bean powder into consumable products like noodles.
Farmers will be able to get value for their money and value for their energy, for the effort they have put in farming.
To boost market access, a training program has been rolled out to equip farmers with skills and knowledge on the mandatory standards required to access the European Union and other markets. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
The draft non-deposit-taking credit providers regulation of 2025 will help restore trust in the digital lending service by the public. Tala Kenya General Manager Stella Mumbe believes the new framework will improve services, streamline digital lending, and address emerging issues. The new regulations, which succeed the earlier digital-only rules, covers all non-deposit lenders and require licensing for those with capital above 20 million shillings.
We've seen customers actually saying of their top 3 or 4 considerations on choosing a lender, one of them is being licensed by central bank. And that becomes a signal of trust, a badge of trust for any company that is under the mandate of the central bank. And I would say regulation in itself, especially now that we're having non-deposit taking regulations, will help to bring everyone under the same ambit of the central bank and create a standard of operation.
So it's been very open and collaborative, and that discussion has molded the draft version that we are seeing right now. We've had several rounds where we've engaged especially the central bank, and they've also told us where they're coming from, because the mandate of the regulator, of course, is to ensure there's that financial stability and consumer protection. So they've pointed out issues that they've seen happen in the market.
We move on, where the Port of Mombasa is accelerating expansion after record high cargo volume in 2025 highlighted pressure on existing port infrastructure. Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director Captain William Ruto attributes the growth in cargo volumes to sustained reform in trade facilitation and automation of port processes.
The total cargo throughput at the Port of Mombasa rose to a historic high of 45.5 million metric tons in 2025, up from 40.99 million metric tons the previous year. Port officials attribute the performance to increased import and export activity across East and Central Africa.
This development reflects global shipping trends, including geopolitics, global shipping lines rotation, among other, adding a competitive development in the region.
The Port of Mombasa handled 2.1 million 20-foot equivalent units in 2025, up from 2 million 20-foot equivalent units the previous year. Import cargo volumes and transit cargo rose by 20%, driven largely by Uganda, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Tanzania. Captain Ruto says the Kenya Ports Authority is rehabilitating berth 19B, constructing berths 23 and 24 that are expected to increase cargo handling capacity by 1.4 million 20-foot equivalent units.
These port initiatives. As a port authority, our focus is to facilitate trade through efficient and by guaranteeing infrastructure and system that works.
The Kenya Ports Authority is also upgrading the terminal operating system, automating port gates into smart gates in order to improve efficiency and streamline cargo clearance. Ndutamokami for Prime Edition.
And 9 oil exports in Nigeria hit a high of $6.1 billion in 2025, representing an 11.5% increase year-on-year. Now, the decades of oil exports have been the main driver of the Nigerian economy. The government has invested heavily to diversify the economy and prop up the country's non-oil exports. Here are the details of this and other stories in our international news, business news roundup.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council says the record $6.1 billion non-oil exports in 2025 is a clear indication that the government's diversification drive is working. Nigeria exported a total of 281 non-oil products to 120 countries in 2025. The products included cocoa, urea, cashew nuts, sesame seeds, aluminum ingots, copper and rubber, among others, and much more. The logic is that the more the exports, the more the dollar inflows to ease pressure on the country's currency, naira. But while goods volumes are rising, Nigeria still exports mostly raw or lightly processed goods, limiting its earnings and competitiveness. Meanwhile, Sudan's gold industry, a key source of foreign currency, is reeling under ongoing conflict, infrastructure damage, and collapsing trade ties. Sudan, one of Africa's leading gold producers and exporters, has seen its vital gold industry suffering severe setbacks after nearly 3 years of armed conflict. With fierce fighting sweeping across much of the country, critical infrastructure, including roads, electricity supply and mining facilities, have been heavily damaged, which is crippling production and exports. Gold mining in Sudan remains largely traditional. Since the outbreak of the conflict, gold processing and trade have been disrupted. Finally, widespread snowfall and freezing rain have swept across much of Germany since Monday, disrupting major transport services nationwide and forcing flight cancellations at key traffic hubs in the country. More than 70 flights were cancelled at Frankfurt Airport as the icing operations continued throughout the day. German rail operator Deutsche Bahn reported extensive delays and cancellations on multiple major routes, including services linking Berlin and Hamburg. In the capital city of Berlin, bus and subway services were also disrupted, adding to commuter difficulties.
Let's take yet another break after the international business roundup. But coming up next is my colleague, that is Daniel Home. He'll be bringing you up to speed with what is happening as far as sports is concerned.
saa hii ukidial star 419 hash option 4 ama uingie kwa tushinde.com, hakuna probox. Jaribu, ni ukweli. Yaani nimeshaingia na ndio tunafyeka. Ya inaona iko ndani. Wanaongelea nini hao? Ni shamba. Na sio moja, sio mbili, shamba 3 hapa Juja. Very nice. Na ni area moja development na growth iko promising sana. Stima iko ndani. Hiyo, maji inapatikana. Wow. Security iko sawa na all basic amenities zinapatikana. Shamba ni 3 na kuingia kwa draw ili kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi 3 ni 35 bob pekee. Na mtu akitaka zote 3 iko special ticket ya kuweza kujishindia shamba zote 3 kwa tikiti moja ya 99 bob pekee. Hata hiyo, na barabara ni nywe mpaka kwa ploti yako, na kila ploti is worth 1.5 million Kenyan shillings. Hii 2026 hatuland tu, tunaland mara 3 na tushinde.com au star 419 hash option 4. Umesema vizuri sana. Nafieka.
Je, wewe ni mpenda soka? Na je, wajua kuwa KBC mwenzio wako wa dhati michezoni anakujali? Ndio maana KBC Channel 1 hukuletea taarifa na uchambuzi wa soka.
Kafu ndio wamechukua usukani
humu nchini, barani Afrika na ugaibuni, ikiwemo EPL, Serie A, Bundesliga na ligi zingine. Mashabiki pia hutuzwa kwa kujibu maswali kuhusiana na soka.
Swali letu la leo.
Haya yote ni kwenye kipindi cha Dunda Dunda kwenye KBC Channel 1 kila Ijumaa kuanzia saa 5 asubuhi hadi saa 6:30 mchana.
Nawahimiza Wakenya waendelee watch Dunda Dunda show.
KBC, wenzio wa dhati michezoni.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Ohome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. SportPesa have unveiled a multi-million sponsorship investment worth 120 million shillings covering boxing, rugby and motorsport that is aimed at athlete development, professionalism and sustainability.
Speaking during the launch, the SportPesa Chief Commercial Officer Jason Gibson said the investment reflects a belief that sport is a national asset and viable career path and not just passion.
We are here to stay, and like I mentioned, these are just the first quarter of events that we're announcing today. There's a lot of good things that are coming from SportPesa this year, and I look forward to kind of seeing you all down at the grounds, the tracks, the rings.
In boxing, 40 million Kenya shillings has been committed to New Rising Stars program aimed at rebuilding the sport and restoring Kenya's competitiveness and continental stage. Rugby also benefits with 40 million shillings in cash and kind allocated to support the staging of the world-class HSBC Sevens 2 tournament mid-February at the Nyayo National Stadium. The investment complements ongoing support for the national Sevens team and strengthens player pathways ahead of global competition. Motorsports completes a triad as 40 million shillings has been set aside to support Kenyans rally ahead of the 2026 WRC Safari Rally. The latest investment builds on a long history of corporate involvement in Kenyan sport, including league sponsorship, support for historic football clubs, and record-setting partnerships on the global motorsport stage.
Now, Football Kenya Federation and Mozarbet have signed a new 3-year sponsorship agreement worth 90 million Kenya shillings after launching this year's edition of the Mozarbet Cup. The renewed partnership will see 30 million shillings annually invested into Kenya's premier domestic knockout competition from 2026 to 2028. An individual cash award for outstanding performance and improved prize money structure for participating teams has also been introduced. The FKF President Hussein Mohamed said the renewed partnership will strengthen the competition and provide meaningful benefits to clubs across the country. The 2026 Mozarbet Cup will start with a round of 64, whose draw was conducted today, with interesting matchups including 15 clubs from the top league and 47 from the lower divisions. Nairobi United, where the holders will start their title defense at L15 as Githurai All-Stars play Bandari, where United will face Tusker, while B Bread will take on AFC Leopards. Embakasi United start their campaign against FKF Premier League champions Kenya Police. KCB is pitted against Compel, while Gor Mahia will play Dero FC. The first round of the matches are scheduled on the 7th and 8th of February, with a grand finale set for the 17th of June this year. And from that cup competition, I'll tell you to look out for a draw. Mofa, that is the Michael Lunga Football Academy against Muhoroni Youth. That is my pick of the round of 64 draw. Muhoroni Youth versus Mofa. We'll talk about that on the 8th of February. Let's move on, where Kenya Breweries Limited has committed 68 million Kenya shillings towards the 2026 Magical Kenya Open Golf Championship in its long-standing partnership with one of Africa's premier golf tournaments, which is also part of the DP World Tour. KBL will contribute 12 million shillings in cash and 56 million shillings in strategic in-kind support aimed at enhancing the tournament experience for players, fans and partners. The 57th edition of the Magical Kenya Open will be held from the 19th to the 22nd of February this year at the Karen Country Club in Nairobi, and will feature 144 professional golfers competing for a $2.7 million prize pass. Speaking during the sponsorship presentation, the Kenya Open Golf Limited Chairman Patrick Obath welcomed the continued support, noting that strong partnerships are key to planning and delivering an event that meets international standards.
It's been a lot of tournament golf, to be honest. So beginning of the season, we were playing for all those tournaments. But yeah, now we have a couple of weeks off to obviously touch up our game and get ready for the MKO. I just don't really have to prepare much now. I think we're already prepared in terms of tournament-wise. But just looking forward to, like I said, having a good week that week.
I'm really excited for this season. I'm heading to South Africa for the Sunshine Ladies Tour, and I'm so grateful for all everyone who's come together and to bring brands to work with us. And I've been preparing, I've been working out in the gym, on the range, and I'm really looking forward to participating well in South Africa, and I'm wishing the big boys also all the best in the Magical Kenya Open.
Now, drama at the final of the 2025 AFCON. Well, everything had to boil down to some disciplinary decisions. Let's go through this. Senegal manager Pape Thiaw has been banned for 5 games after the chaotic scenes witnessed during the 2025 Africa Cup Nations final against Morocco this month, which Senegal won eventually. Some players from the Senegalese and Moroccan national teams have also been punished for scenes that occurred during the final in Rabat. Let's get this story.
The Confederation of African Football has issued Senegal coach Papa Thiaw with a £72,000 fine and a 5-match ban, saying he was guilty of unsporting conduct during the Africa Cup of Nations final. The final on 18th January in Rabat, which Senegal went on to win 1-0, descended into disarray when Senegal players left the field after Morocco were awarded a stoppage time penalty. The match was delayed for about 17 minutes before Senegal forward Sadio Mane convinced his teammates to return to the pitch. Senegal players Ilmar Sheikh Ndiaye and Ismaila Sarr have also been banned for 2 official CAF matches, same as Morocco national team players Ashraf Hakimi and Ismail Saibari, who have been banned for 2 to 3 CAF matches respectively. Both the football federations of Senegal and Morocco have also been fined for their unsporting behavior, but the CAF disciplinary board rejected the protest lodged by the Moroccan Federation regarding alleged violations by the Senegal Federation relating to the incidents witnessed in the final of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations.
This, in my coverage of African football, is the highest sanction that has come across, and it almost destroyed Africa's heritage competition. I think the punishment should deter future disruptive action. Now, across our borders, the UEFA Champions League phase came to a close last night with 6 more teams joining league phase winners Arsenal and second place Bayern Munich in the last 16. That is Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Barcelona, Chelsea, Sporting Club Portugal and Manchester City. Arsenal maintained their perfect campaign with a 3-2 defeat of Kairat Almaty as Bayern Munich overcame PSV by 2-1 away from home. La Liga giants Barcelona beat visitors FC Copenhagen by 4-1 to finish 5th as Liverpool thrashed Karabakh FK 6-0 to finish 3rd, followed by Tottenham Hotspur, who beat Eintracht Frankfurt by 2-0. 6th place Chelsea had to fight hard to beat Napoli by 3-2 at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium to eliminate the French side. Manchester City sealed the top 8 positions after a 2-0 defeat of Galatasaray as Inter Milan overcame host Borussia Dortmund by the same margin to stay in the playoff zone. Real Madrid missed a last 16 berth after they suffered a 4-2 defeat away to their host Benfica, which saw them finish 9th in the league phase as their Spanish counterparts Atletico Madrid were also heartbroken by Bodo Glimt, who edged them by 2-1 to stay in the competition. French giants Paris Saint-Germain and Newcastle settled for a 1-1 draw to proceed to the playoffs too, with a draw set for Friday.
They were queuing up with Gyökeres and Martinelli.
Interesting. Kai Havertz scores against a team known as Kairat. The first 3 letters of his first name and the first 3 letters of the team he scored are identical. Anyway, too much for useless information. Well, have a good night. My name is Daniel Wahome. We'll be looking at the draw tomorrow because we just can't avoid it because the Europa League and the Conference League are on, and you know, Kenyans are interested to know who will Manchester City face, who will Arsenal face. Let's wait for that. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you so much, Daniel Wahome, for the sports update. You know, I could have asked you very many questions as far as that, you know, is it AFCON? Yes. You know, Senegal being fined, and do we know what Morocco was fined? Because it was... Yes.
Senegal, their total fines come to about 715,000. For Morocco, they come to about $515,000, and this is, there's the team fines, and then there are those that apply to individuals. Mm-hmm. So there are those that have come there. I think it's one of the most difficult decisions that the CAF disciplinary committee has had to make, because those 17 minutes have become a scar on African football, especially after the show we had in Cote d'Ivoire 2 years ago, and then the final just turns out almost into a farce. But the way it went, the biggest decision, and that's one everyone's going to question, is are Senegal the champions? I expect an appeal from Morocco. This is from what I have seen, because one of the appeals was Senegal should not be champions. But that was thrown out by the CAF Disciplinary Commission. But there is an appeal process, so we'll talk about that next week. Let's see what happens.
We'll get to know what happens, but I don't think I've ever watched a game that was full of drama like that one. But anyway, so thank you so much, Daniel Wahome, for the sports updates. That is where we end the Prime Edition tonight. Thank you so much, as always, for your time and your company. Lucy Maura was our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Marie Yambo. Good night.
Saa hii ukidial *419# option 4 ama uingie kwa tushinde.com, hakuna probox. Jaribu. Ni ukweli. Yaani imeshaingia na ndio tunafyeka. Ya inaona iko ndani. Wanaongelea nini hao? Ni shamba. Na sio moja, sio mbili, shamba 3 hapa Juja. Very nice. Na ni area moja development na growth iko promising sana. Stima iko ndani. Hiyo maji inapatikana. Wow. Security iko sawa na all basic amenities zinapatikana. Shamba ni 3 na